guests, Founder Chairman Mr. J.R. Bansal, Mr. Nagesh Paida, Professor S.R.A., and all the other luminaries who are present here today. It's indeed an honor that I stand in front of you and the students to deliver the 14th convocation address of an institute which I have passed through thousands and hundreds of times, but from just the roads outside. I wish, as you would have noticed, Professor Arora, who talked a lot about my various jobs, he obviously did not talk about my education because he did realize that my education is slightly incomplete because I'm just a graduate engineer. But then, many things that you have had a chance to learn in this important part of your life. I do understand many of you came with a fair amount of job experience. Many of you, when you came in out here, had a much better absorption capacity because you had already gone through some of the real case studies, real life case studies. So when I look back, and I've had a chance to work with many MBA students, I genuinely feel that the opportunity that you all have had to look at various parts of the business, whether it is people, whether it is process, whether it's technology, whether it is innovation, whether it is employee satisfaction, customer experience, customer satisfaction, finance, legal, I do believe that your professors have done a wonderful job in exposing you to some of the realities. Those case studies that you have studied here can really save, at least when I look back, my career, I learned it by experience, I learned it by observation, I learned it by talking to different people, whereas you have had a chance to go through and be able to see things end to end. So I do believe that, I know most of you have started working, most of you are now aware that if I use even 30% of that or even 20% of that, I am a lot better prepared in any meeting, any situation, or any environment. So I guess the reality is that you know your assets. The reality is that know that what you have been, what you have benefited from, and to build on that foundation. When I look out, I still remember many incidences in my life. When I was a young child, my grandfather used to have an oil mill. This was not the refining oil factory, but an oil mill which the groundnuts were bought, the peanuts were bought, and that my grandfather in his oil mill would crush that seeds and basically produce the oil, and which was used as a cooking medium or sold back to the refiners or the vegetable ghee manufacturers. And one of the things, you think that talent management is an issue now. Trust me, talent management was an issue then also. Now, when I look at that example, the example was my grandfather sitting on his gaddi would actually, the job applicants would come and want to get hired with him. He would give them some kind of a job. There was no interview process. There wasn't any Firetas. There wasn't any LinkedIn, so there wasn't any Naukri.com. People came on word of mouth, and he would give them some small job. And the one that remained in my life as an education for my life was a typical Monday morning. Neighboring villages would come in and bring their agriculture produce to be sold, particularly the groundnuts, and they will bring it in the bullock carts, they will bring it into the small town square. As I said, my grandfather lived in a small town called Nimbahera. He would ask people to go, whoever is a job applicant to him, pata karna groundnut or mungfali, what is the rate of the mungfali? One guy will go, come back, and he'll say whatever it is, 10 rupees a kg. His next question would be, which village has that guy come from? Normal case, no answer. Meanwhile, the second guy has also gone on a similar errand. Similar kind of a question. The guy would answer not only one question, maybe he will answer the second question, which village has he come from. The third guy would even go to the extent of saying, the guy has to go back at XXX number of hours, and he would have a lot more information that this year the produce has been good, this particular village, these set of farmers, they have to reach back, they have come from 3 hours away, so they will leave at 2 o'clock, and that's the time to strike a bargain. Now, the point I'm trying to make is that we all learn in our management books, go the extra mile. It does not matter what level you are in. Whether you are a mailroom guy or whether you are a CEO. If you don't go that extra mile, you would be one of the average guys. And none of you wants to be in that average guy. So, every time, whenever you are trying to do a job, just remember, are you adding value? Can you add more value? And if you can add more value, how much time does it take? If that extra effort can make you look better and get you ahead of the race, is it worth it or not? That's a question that you need to ask. There are many more lessons that you guys will come across. And as far as I'm concerned, I learned my lessons in marketing again in Rajasthan. As you know, India is a country of contrasts. Me in a school, now I'm already in Jaipur, me in a school, and my neighbors, who is a classmate of mine, his father is going to Kerala. And I knew that being Rajasthani, being a trader community guy, that this guy is basically a trader in pickles. And he is going all the way, and a typical, Rajasthan pickles were the red pepper, the lal mirchi achars. And anyway, so uncle, why are you going to Kerala? I said, oh, people eat food everywhere. I think that's a market unexplored. So I'm going to Kerala. Remember, I'm now talking of 40 years ago. There wasn't like an airline which took you to whichever part of the world immediately. And definitely not from Jaipur. Even if you had to go through some 3 airlines and 3 different kinds of transport. Okay, so how will you sell? I'm curious. I want to know. I've learned from my grandfather's experiment is that you need to do a little more. You need to add a little more value. So I am still curious. And this friend's father actually tells me that he's going to a Kerala book fair. Now, where does selling pickles and book fairs come in? By this time I definitely discovered that Kerala is a very educated country and they have the largest number of book fairs in Kerala. But for selling pickles, how do you go to a book fair? He said the stalls are the cheapest there and people anyway have to eat food. The number of footfalls, because Keralites love books, will be the highest, and because the stalls